for Richard Russell. I am returning your voicemail message. Please feel free to give me a call back at 520-724-9087. Thank you. Bye.
End of message. To erase this message, press 7. To save it, press 9. Message saved. Next message. Sent Monday, June 6th at 1:08 p.m. from phone number 86669. Message saved. Next message. Sent Sunday, June 12th.
It's July 2nd, 2022.
8:38 p.m. from phone number 602-390-2797.
Hey, Rick, it's Mom.
Message saved. Next message. Sent Monday, June 13th at 4:40 p.m. from phone number 520-449-7248.
Hello, this message is from Mr. Richard Russell. This is Officer Thiel with the University of Arizona Police Department, badge number 1217. Approximately 4:38 in the afternoon on Monday, June 13th, and I was just calling to remind you that you have an injunction against harassment against the entire University of Arizona. That means that you cannot have any sort of contact, whether in person, electronic, or any kind of communication with any University of Arizona employee. That includes employees of the University of Arizona Police Department. Technically, your request and presence today in our station to request records requests was a violation of that injunction. Any further contact with any University of Arizona employee, whether with the police department or not, is a violation of that injunction and will lead to your arrest for violation of that injunction. You cannot have any contact with UAPD or its employees. That includes record requests or any kind of body camera requests or any sort of communication, whether in person or electronic. If you violate that, you will be arrested for the violation of the injunction. If you need to make a phone call because you have an emergency, do not call UAPD non-emergency line. You need to call 911 and follow the standard protocol for requesting emergency services. Again, do not call UAPD non-emergency line. You need to call 911. If you violate this in any way, shape, or form by any kind of communication, you will be arrested for violating the injunction order against you and for the harassment against the University of Arizona in its entirety and any employee or person employed by the University of Arizona. I hope you understand. That includes do not respond to this phone call or this number or this officer. Do not respond to me either. You will be in violation of your injunction. If you need to make any record requests, have any communication with the university or its police department in any way, shape, or form, you need to have a legal representative, whether that's a lawyer or another appointed representative, to make those requests or communications for you. That is the only way that you can have any sort of contact with the university, is through a third-party legal representative. All right. Thank you, sir. I hope you have a good rest of your day. Goodbye.
End of message. To erase this message, message saved. Next message.
There you go, people. You can hear a public university leaving a voicemail to Richard Allen Russell stating he is not allowed to have any contact with anyone in the public police department of the university. I've spent 2 years trying to open up a complaint against Officer Keating from the University of Arizona Police Department. I was literally by the university and by Officer Keating, Colin Keating, extorted out of my home. I have a letter from my landlord of us mutually agreeing because the university police repeatedly came off campus, whether in person themselves or through other agencies of the state, to my home property when I had nothing ever once to do with stepping foot on their property other than to return items from the medical school where a doctor named Sean P. Elliott dismissed me through a series of actions while he was drunk, working with positive urine and blood ethanol tests, repeatedly in violation of his stipulated rehabilitation agreement that the Arizona Board of Regents, not the Arizona Board of Regents, the Arizona Medical Board is refusing now in some illegal Class 4 felony act to release. It's a public record. You are a public agency. You do not get to tell me I go to jail if I file a complaint document to you. That is the most disgusting, pathetic perversion of backwards practice of any sort of basic law under any sort of state and federal constitution I have ever heard. And that's not even considering the fact that the injunction, which was unlawfully upheld, ex parte, my person unable to attend due to a judge then subsequently working with the police department to falsify a persecution of stalking charges, which were automatically dismissed, as well as the automatic dismissal of harassment criminal charges by the prosecution without me lifting a finger. That is to not even consider the fact that that injunction, which was unlawfully upheld, does not list the University of Arizona as a public body nor organization. The injunction lists individual names of natural persons. And generally, it is not legal at all, based upon my experience, which is pretty limited, but based upon my experience, for polices to preclude public citizens through coercive injunctions. Injunctions are acts of coercion by the state, by definition of the U.S. Supreme Court. It is not proper nor legal to get injunctions blocking a U.S. citizen who has zero conviction of any crime from entering into a public police department on public property to file public record requests and file complaints on public records against public servants under oath of service to the public. The most rapacious violation and perversion of law I have ever imagined even possible. Two years trying to file a complaint against a police officer, with the police refusing to even accept a complaint document, and now they're telling me it's illegal for me to even file a complaint document unless I have a third party file a complaint who is an attorney. I do not need an attorney to walk into a public police department on a public premise and file a public record request nor a public complaint. I do not need an attorney. I am not convicted of a crime. And the one crime the state has attempted to charge me with was dismissed under petition and willful order of petition to vacate the charges. And even if I had been, which I have not, been convicted of a crime, I still am permitted to file public records requests. Literally, my quote-unquote public defender contracted through the state attempted to tell me I am insane. She's going to file a Rule 11 insanity motion, while she simultaneously told me repeatedly on July 2nd, the date as written 6/22 on her paper notes was 6/22. Repeatedly. That I'm insane, in her legal opinion, being voiced to me in a public, well, it's a private coffee shop where we met, but in a public area where there are public persons listening, one of which is named Carl Bourne, who heard the entire thing and watched and offered me immediately his full contact information and full name, repeatedly telling me I'm insane on July 1st, and that the date was written, that the date of the day, July 1st, is 6/22, repeatedly. The same attorney who for over 2 weeks refused to even talk to me on the phone and then subsequently refused to even let me accompany her to get a transcript of the case she's assigned to represent of my person in a public courthouse building, refused to allow me to accompany her so I could immediately obtain a copy at the same time of an unlawful, perverted, ultra-obscene, ultra-various, which means acted outside of judicial capacity knowingly, because you have to be criminally insane as a judge to accept these statements that I'm saying herein as anything but unlawful description of acts not committed by my person, rather acts committed by other persons. And I'm not even going to finish that sentence. You have to be insane as a judge to tell me I'm not allowed to post, as an ex-medical student, information about a multi-drug resistant bacterial infection treatment on public record. You have to be insane and incompetent and incapacitated and mentally disabled as a judicial officer to publicly state I have zero constitutional right with zero conviction. That being the constitutional right of freedom of speech, I do believe under Article 2 of the Arizona Constitution. Article 2, I do believe, are the rights, the doctrines of rights. This, I think it's the second most important article of the entire Constitution of the state of Arizona, codifying free speech. You have to be insane to try to tell me I cannot publish peer-reviewed medical journals on my Facebook social media. You have to be mentally incapacitated as a judicial officer to tell me I have zero constitutional freedom of speech to post information on bacterial drug or bacterial infection treatments in violation of the First Amendment of the U.S. Constitution, mentally incapacitated to repeatedly try to tell me the date is 6/22, June 22nd, when the date is July 1st. Criminal acts of the state. Criminal retaliation. It needs to stop now.